What's up, guys? The final score is back on the air. Super Bowl 57 is done. We it's kind of a sad week because there's no football. Wait a minute. The USFL is right around the corner. And I don't care what you guys say. Football is football to me. I will watch the USFL and I'll enjoy it because it's football. It's football. With me, as always, tonight is my cohort in crime, Mr. Matthew Bazemore. What's up, Matthew?
What's up, Stevie? Thank you for having me on again.
You don't have to thank me for having you on again. You're part of the show now, dude.
Well, I know, but still, I'm still thankful to be a part of the final
Yeah.
score squad.
Yeah. So, like I said, USFL is right around the corner. You gonna watch USFL?
No, I doubt it. I've
Oh,
never
come on!
never gotten into it, but I might take a look at it and
It's
see.
football, dude.
I get that, but I
It
don't know.
means it it fills a gap. It fills a gap between the end of the NFL season to the start of the NFL season. So, I'm looking at the USFL.com website. Saturday, April 15th. So we've got what, 2 more months?
hmm
4:30 p.m. on Fox. You got a double header that Saturday. 4:30 and 7:30. The Philadelphia Stars take on the Memphis Showboats, and the New Jersey Generals take on the Birmingham Stallions. If I had to pick a team, they've got a Pittsburgh team up here. The Pittsburgh Maulers.
Sounds
I
like
can't
a
say, I can't really say, I'm a Maulers fan.
I'm a Maulers fan.
Ray Horton is the coach of the. They've got rosters on. Yeah, they've got rosters up here already, dude. It might be somebody up here. See, I always look with the USFL. I always look at the players, and then I'll go by that to see who I pull for. So I'll have to check. I'll have to
Yeah.
check the rosters out a little bit when I got more time. So,
Usually, this is the time for me to catch up on March Madness, get ready for March Madness, and look at
oh,
college basketball.
no, I don't. I just right now I'm not in a March Madness zone yet. I
Yeah.
guess. Um, I'm sure the closer we get, we still got what, 2 more weeks before March gets here. So I'm sure the closer it gets, I'll be a little bit better with that. But I'm still
I
in
know.
kind of like football hangover right now.
Yeah, I get that too. Me too. I keep thinking like Thursday night, another game coming on. Nope, never mind.
Nope. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on around the NFL right now. So your boys, talk a little bit about what your boys, the Giants, did today.
We re-signed Isaiah Hodgins, our number 18 wide receiver. I think that was a very good idea. However, like I told you right before the show, I don't think he's a number one wide receiver. I think he's a good three.
Good three.
Yeah, maybe three. I want Brandon IU
You want
from
Brandon
San.
IU from San Francisco?
Yes, him or what's his name, Jordan Addison.
Oh yeah, the rookie from USC.
Yeah, I like
Are
him too.
y'all that far up in the draft where you can get Jordan Addison? Because I'm hearing he's a top 10 pick.
He is, but we could get like a trade, like a 25 trade for a first round.
Yeah, you have to move up. You definitely have to move up.
Yeah,
Get
I mean,
this, what I've been hearing. I've been hearing Pittsburgh is talking to the Rams about trading their second first, well, the 32nd pick to the Rams for Jalen Ramsey.
mm,
And I'm like, I don't know. I guess that that would definitely shore up the secondary a little bit, but I'm looking at, well, you know what? I'm looking at SuperBowlNation.com. Their mock draft right now. and it's got Jordan Addison falling all the way to 20th to the Seahawks. So
Jordan
that's
Addison
not
to the Seahawks.
yeah, number 20. So y'all were 26th.
Hmm. I
Let's
mean, so
see
we could
who.
do a trade or something.
But it's also got you guys taking offensive lineman. Osiris Torrance from Florida.
Yeah.
And it's got us taking Joey Porter Jr. I bet you didn't even know there was a Joey Porter Jr., did you?
I did not.
Yeah. He's cornerback from Penn State. So I don't know. It's I'm gonna start. This is gonna be this is something you're gonna have to work on too.
All right.
This will be the first year you'll be a part of the final score mock draft.
Ooh, all right. I'm ready.
Yeah, me and Gaddis Hodges. We always do. We have been doing it.
You still there?
He went off the air. There we go. I'm back again.
All right.
And then I took it over when he went off the air and had Gaddis on. So it's been probably at least 15 years that me and him have been doing it together. So you get to be a part of that this year. Aren't you
I'm
glad?
excited. I am. I'm
Yeah.
excited. Got
Yeah.
to put my my manager shoes on.
Yeah, you can it's fun. I mean, it's kind of like doing a bracket for March Madness, and we see who gets the most right. And but I'll tell you, you may get the first couple right, but if one of them, if something gets thrown off, like somebody moves up in the draft trade or something like that, it messes up your whole. It's just like a bracket; it'll mess up your whole bracket. But
Oh yeah.
all right, so let's get to what we. Hold on, maybe we still got some more to talk about here. Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator for the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, is I want to say it was today, and it's going to continue into tomorrow. Is interviewing with the Washington Commanders for the same job. So, and I think that if he takes this job and he makes this work, I think the reason he wants to do this is to prove he did. It's not just Mahomes. It's not just Andy Reid that's doing it. He had a lot to do with it, uh, and I don't blame him. I mean, he's
Yeah.
been passed over for so many head coaching jobs over the years that I would be. I would feel the same way if I could prove to somebody that proved that it wasn't just them. It had a lot to do with me. But yeah, I think he might take this job. So Alvin Kamara is indicted in a battery case. Him and among four others. I think that was from that incident in Las Vegas a couple years ago. Tiki Barber. Aaron Rodgers is too sensitive to play in New York. I believe that.
I do
I
too.
believe
Yeah,
that.
I agree with that.
Tom Brady is going to produce a series. Now, I guess this pretty much says the retirement is a done deal. One of his first big post retirement moves will be helping to produce a series about Pro Football Hall of Fame coach and legendary broadcaster John Madden. He's got his own. I didn't know he had his own company. 199 Productions has been tapped to executive produce a limited series chronicling the life and career of John Madden. I will watch that.
Yeah, me too.
I would definitely watch that. Anything about John Madden, that would be interesting to watch. Let's see if it says if it gives a date. Episode count yet to be determined, so I guess they haven't even started yet. But yeah, that should be interesting.
When are they
Any
gonna
little
make a Tom
documentary.
Brady documentary?
Oh, that don't they do that all the time anyway?
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't that been like for the last 10 years?
20, yeah, 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure something. All jokes aside, I'm sure something will be coming along for long.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Okay, that's pretty much the gist of what's going on. Of course, the Cardinals got a new head coach, Jonathan Gannon, uh, and says he was the Eagles' defensive coordinator over the last 2 seasons. So the Eagles lose
Yeah.
their offensive and defensive coordinator uh, because I can never say this guy's name right. Jeez, what's his name? The offensive coordinator. Uh, I'm looking for a pronunciation of his name right now. Steichen, I guess Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator for the Eagles. He was announced as the Indianapolis Colts new head coach. So the Eagles, after that loss, you lose your offensive and your defensive coordinator. You've got a lot of questions in free agency you've got to look at. It may be a tough year if you're an Eagles fan next year. I mean, I don't know if you'll be back in the Super Bowl or not. You got to pay. You got to do something with Jalen Hurts as far as his contract. You want to make sure you get him straight early. Um, you don't want to wait till he hits free agency or anything like that. So let's talk. Let's go right into the Super Bowl. Let's just get right onto it. Super Bowl 57 matchup between two pretty evenly matched teams. They had the same record. They scored the same amount of points, and they both had a Kelsey on the team. Um, I mean, going into it, of course, we both picked the Eagles, and we'll talk about. Of course, we did have our T-shirt giveaway, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes too. Um, Started off with a bang. Let's talk about that from the start of the game. National anthem, Chris Stapleton.
Wonderful.
Matthew, what do you think? What do you think about Chris Stapleton?
It was great. I even rewinded it a little bit and listened to it again because it just gave me chills, man. It was so good. You done a great job.
Yes, he definitely did a great job. And there was criticism from some folks, and I mean, if it's not your cup of tea, that's fine. You can criticize all you want to, but I thought he did a great job. I thought it was one of the best national anthems I've seen in a while.
Yes.
Um, you saw the Sirianni, the head coach for the Eagles, with tears streaming. I thought definitely affected him, and it was a great start. And then the all female flyover for the planes. It was an all female formation, and then we got down to football. The Eagles came out firing, came out quick, and scored a touchdown. Jalen Hurts gets the touchdown 1 yard run, and you're looking at it and you're looking like, okay, everybody was talking about Kansas City's defense is going to uh, handle the Eagles, and some key third down conversions, which uh, will come up a lot in this game. They converted a lot of third down, some fourth down conversions, but Patrick Mahomes comes right back, leads the Chiefs down the field, throws a touchdown to Travis Kelce, of course. I was trying to figure out if I'm a defensive coordinator and an NFL defensive coordinator, how the heck does Travis Kelce get so wide open so many times? Have you figured
I,
it out, Matthew?
I was trying to figure that out during the game. I was like, well, if he was wide, like most of the time he was wide open. Like, why don't they have somebody on Travis Kelce, knowing he's a star player in this football game?
That first drive, there was maybe, I know it was at least two, maybe three instances where he was wide open. I
Yeah,
mean, wide open. And, I mean, how do you let somebody like that get open? But that was a sign to come with the Eagles secondary. And we'll talk about that when we get to the fourth quarter. Um, Second quarter, Hurts with a deep pass to AJ Brown, 45 yards, right on the money. I mean, Hurts. Everybody was questioning the shoulder. Um, Early on, he threw one pass on that first drive that uh, I forgot who it was that caught it out of bounds, but I was just saying, that throw, he put it right on the money. It may have been out of bounds, but he put it right on the money, and it was deep. So the shoulder at that time, at least at the first of the game, wasn't a problem. Um, and AJ Brown managed to get behind the Chiefs defense. And then you're watching this. The Eagles get Mahomes and company off the field with a 7 point lead, and you're thinking, okay, the Eagles are going to separate themselves a little bit from the Chiefs. And Hurts goes for a run, takes off on a design run play, fumbles the ball. It's picked up by Brown, no Bolton, excuse me, for the Chiefs. He goes 36 yards for a touchdown, just like that. Instead of being 21-7 Eagles, it's tied up. And I thought that play, you know, you look back at a lot of plays and you think about that. If that play right there doesn't happen, and the Eagles can sustain a drive, whether they got just 3 points, if they could just get 3 points in that drive, this is a different ball game. I mean, you turned the ball over and not just turned it over, but it went for a touchdown. But one of the things I heard them talking about Jalen Hurts, the announcing crew, which I think did a great job. Greg Olson did a great job doing his first Super Bowl. Fox, I don't know what you're going to do. You're getting into unknown territory with Tom Brady as a commentator. You're already planning on him being the number one because you paid him all that money. But I will tell you this: I don't think he can be much better than what Greg Olson has done this year and what
Yeah, he
Greg Olson
yeah,
did in the Super Bowl. He did a great job.
he did done it good.
But they were talking about how quick Jalen Hurts is to flush a bad memory out of his brain and not let it affect what he does the rest of the game. And this didn't. He went right down the field, uh, gets another touchdown, and it's 21-14. Now the Eagles defense the first half stood up pretty well. And I know all of the Chiefs fans were holding their breath on that last possession the Chiefs had when Patrick Mahomes on that third down play gets tackled and grabbed by his ankle, and he is writhing in pain and limping off the field, and everybody's like, "Oh Lord!" I was even saying, you know what? If he doesn't come back from that, that's probably the ball game there. But how much? I don't even want to know what they did to him at halftime. I mean, I don't know if Mr. Miyagi came in there and did his uh, little or I don't know what kind of shots or what strength ibuprofen or whatever they gave to him, but whatever they did, it worked. But Eagles had tack on a field goal, and all of a sudden it's 24-14 at the half, and things are looking good for the Eagles. What was your thoughts at halftime?
My thoughts at halftime, I thought it was looking real good for the Eagles. It pretty kind of didn't surprise me, but I was also intending for Andy Reid to get on somebody's, what,
Oh yeah,
during halftime, and I told people who was watching it with me, I said I'd like to be a fly on the wall right now during this halftime, to be in the locker room with Andy Reid and his players, because to me he's a second half coach anyway. Saw something about Andy Reid and him after halftime. In my opinion, he so when they come back swinging after half, it didn't surprise me at all. I thought it was going to be a closer game, but I still at that point thought Eagles were going to win the game.
yeah. At halftime, I was like, we still got a another half. The Chiefs are getting the ball first the second half. So how that possession goes will,
Determine the game.
probably probably have a be a good sign of how the rest of the game's going to go. Before we go to the second half, though, halftime show. Rihanna. Rihanna's the halftime show. Now you're a lot younger than I am. I'm half I'm about twice as old as you are, I think. Uh, Rihanna's, I've never really got into Rihanna. There's some of her songs that I like. Um, you know, I'll just let you give your thoughts on the halftime show.
I posted a post on that next day. I posted a status talking about it, and Rihanna, she was closer to my generation. I wouldn't call myself a fan, but there's songs that I do like and I don't like by her. And to me, I thought she did good. You could
Yeah.
tell a lot of it was auto tuned and lip sung, but I think she did good. One of the questions I asked was what was she wearing? If she was wearing anything at all, because I know how these Super Bowl halftime shows
Yeah,
goes.
we don't need another
Another Janet Jackson, and
yeah wardrobe malfunction.
yeah. And he told me, she's covered up. Okay, so it shouldn't be no problem with people talking about she's half naked and stuff, because I wouldn't want to see that. Well, I would like to see it, but not on T, but not on TV. Uh,
So you want to see it face to face, huh?
yeah, you can say that. Um, but I thought it was respectful that she at least didn't show herself and disrespect herself. The only thing I didn't like was the background dancers. I don't know what was going on there. I know she had the
Yeesh. Yeah.
pregnancy reveal and everything, but I felt like it was a little bit better way to do that. Um,
Well, and like I said, I'm not a a big. Well, I'm not a big Rihanna fan by no any means. Like I do know some of her music,
yeah,
uh, but I'm not like, oh gosh, it's Rihanna.
yeah,
And but I think she did okay. Uh, like you said, it was lip synced, but every artist when they go out on that, I think most of every artist, I won't say every artist, uh, does that lip sync when they do a performance like this. She was a little. It seemed like she was a little less than enthused at sometimes, but I will say this for her, and you can quote me on this. She is a bad woman for getting on that platform and going up as high as she did, because this boy right here, it ain't gonna happen. I'm not going up. It gave me the freaking heebie-jeebies just watching her go up like she did. And then that, but I'll tell you, and you always have an iconic moment in the halftime performance, and I think the iconic moment was when she was up that high in the air, and all of a sudden it shot her back away from the camera, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna throw up right now. Because I was like, dude, this is you got to get. I can't even watch this anymore. Because I told Matthew before we went on the air, the older I get, the more I do not like heights, and I don't like people watching. I don't like watching. Excuse me, people watching people that are dealing with heights or all that stuff. No, not for me. But yeah, she was pretty bad to be doing that, and my hats off to her for that because she was way up there. I mean,
yeah,
way up there. But it wasn't bad. I mean, I wouldn't put it up there with any of the great Super Bowl
yeah.
halftime performance. I still think, okay, I'm gonna ask you right now, your favorite Super Bowl halftime performance.
I really can't give you a strong answer because Usually don't pay attention to them that much,
Right.
but I'd say I like the Michael Jackson one. When
Okay.
I go back and watch it, I don't remember watching it live, but I have went back and watched it before on the internet, and I really liked his. You could tell he lip sing too, but I think he did a good job.
Yeah, Robert Matthews is chimed in. He's in watching. Um, Robert, you took the words right out of my mouth. Prince
Yeah,
is
yeah,
definitely my favorite halftime performance. When he did "Purple Rain" in the rain, uh, that was freaking awesome. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen anything, the wardrobe malfunction or anything like that, come close to what Prince did. Michael Jackson, I remember watching that live, and that was good, but
wasn't the best, but
it was good. It was good, but Prince, man, he put on a show.
yeah,
So, second half, and just like we said, Kansas City gets the ball first. Pacheco, who is going to be a superstar, I think. I think he's going to be somebody that is a focal point. He's going to be one of Mahomes' best friends with Kelsey now, because he takes a lot off. Him and McKinnon are two underrated running backs in that backfield. They do a good job. They don't get a lot of credit because everybody wants to know about Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelsey, but they had a lot to do with the outcome of this game. He gets a 1 yard touchdown run after a long drive. But one time the time of possession in this game was 21 minutes for the Eagles to 8 for the Chiefs. And they were only down 10 points. That's when I knew that it was going to be trouble.
yeah,
The time of possession game, you're right, Robert. When when you've got 13 minutes advantage, a 13-minute advantage in time of possession over a team, you should be killing them. You should be up 2 touchdowns. And granted, they were up 10 points, but it wasn't a comfortable 10 points to me, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
Especially after that first drive. And of course, the Eagles answered. They get a field goal, but you can't start trading field goals for touchdowns.
yeah,
And then fourth quarter, things start to fall apart for the Eagles defense. I think the Eagles defense got tired, which I didn't think that was going to happen. One of the key points I thought about the Eagles defense was the fact that they constantly rotate
yeah. They're
defensive linemen in
stacked.
the game, and it seemed like those defensive linemen were tired. They got zero. This is the team that led the league in sacks, and this team got 0 sacks. Do you realize? And we're going to get a little more into it after we finish talking about the game. Go through the game. You realize there was 0 holding calls against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I realized that in fourth quarter when that.
0 holding calls in the whole game. Now that's either you're doing great or somebody's eyes are not watching, because there's a hold. I don't care what you say. There's a hold just about every play. And guess what? There was a hold called on the Eagles, wasn't it? So
Yep.
anyway, Mahomes leads them down the field again in the fourth quarter. Throws a 5 yard touchdown pass to former New York Giant Kadarius Toney. Just like that, you're looking at a different ball game. Mahomes, and I'm gonna get into. I'm just going through the scores right now, and then we're gonna go back and talk a little bit about some key plays that I thought uh, that didn't make any sense to me during the game. So the Eagles have to punt, 4th and 3. Which a lot of people were questioning as many times as they went for it on fourth down,
Yeah. Yeah.
why he didn't go for it. But you're deep in your own territory. It's different when you're across midfield or close to midfield. It's different then. But when you're deep in your own territory, excuse me, you don't you don't go for it then. That's not the time to go for it on fourth down, especially in a tight game like this. So Kadarius Toney makes a great punt return, gets down to like the 5 yard line, and Mahomes throws another touchdown pass. And I'm saying this like everybody's saying, "Oh, Mahomes was just great. He was throwing touchdown passes all over the place." Wrong. We'll talk about that in a minute too.
Yeah.
Um, never fails. The Eagles come back. Hurts gets another touchdown, which I think he had two rushing touchdowns and
One
one
passing
passing touchdown. He had three rushing touchdowns
and one passing.
and one passing touchdown. Now they go for two. 2 point conversion is good. And it's a tied ball game. Chiefs get the ball, go down the field, and we all know if you watch that game what happened.
Missed the
Uh,
field goal.
yeah, Butker gets a 27-yard field goal as time runs out, and well, not as time runs out, but with not much time on the clock, and Chiefs are up 38-35. Now the last the last possession for the Eagles, that last play, I don't know if Hurts' shoulder was messed up, but that Hail Mary did not. It was no hail to it. It was all Mary, but it was no hail to it. It was way short, and they come up short. Chiefs get the win, 38-35. Um, and Patrick Mahomes is the MVP. So we're going to start right there. Mahomes should not have got the MVP in my opinion. I don't know how you felt, Matthew,
Yeah.
but I would not have gave the MVP to Mahomes. And everybody thinks I'm crazy. One person said, "Well, he's the most valuable player because without him, they wouldn't have won that game." Okay, whatever you think there. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about who performed the best. And I don't think Jalen Hurts should have got it. I don't think it would have to be somebody on a losing team scoring like 9 or 10 touchdowns and for them to get MVP, in my opinion. And that's not going to happen. Mahomes had 182 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interception. Not Mahomes' numbers. The 3 TDs, no interception. And Robert, I'm just like you. I'm just like you. Those 4 yard passes were so hard when you had both receivers wide open. I'm telling you, I could have thrown that pass. Matthew could have thrown that pass. My daughter could have thrown that pass, and they would have scored a touchdown. I would have given. You want to know who I don't know what you think, Matthew, but I would have give MVP to Kadarius Toney.
Yep. That's who I was about to say.
He caught a touchdown. He had that big punt return that got them the touchdown that led to the touchdown with the lead. And we're not talking about going by past reputation of what he's done during the year. We're talking about what he's done tonight. The only reason Patrick Mahomes got that MVP is because he broke that run with his little ankle was hurting. No NFL player before these last 3 games. You would have, I guess they thought nobody in NFL running backs or quarterbacks ever played with a bum ankle.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever done that before. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't think he should have got it. I would have given it to Kelsey before I gave it to Mahomes. I would have given it to somebody on the defense before I gave it to Mahomes. Maybe the guy that took the fumble back
Pick
for the
six.
touchdown. I mean, he didn't deserve it, but that is all the NFL want. Brady's gone now. We've got to put this guy up on a pedestal. And he's already been there, but they're putting, I mean, this is getting rushed. When you hear people talking about this week, and I swear, I don't dislike Mahomes. I don't dislike the Chiefs. It was fine with me that they won the game, but and no fault of their own. But these people talking, especially Chris Sims, talking so much about Mahomes. Chris Sims, I had to turn their podcast off early in the week because Chris Sims said Patrick Mahomes was the top athlete in the world of sports.
Mm,
Yeah, go to Robert Matthews. Is that evidently he's him and Aaron Rodgers got a date because Robert said I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to my dart room. But yeah, I mean, how do you figure? And then calling him one of the top quarterbacks, greatest quarterbacks of all time. He is a great quarterback, but it is too soon to put him as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He lost the Super Bowl. He got his tail tore up in the Super Bowl. He couldn't
hmm
score. He didn't score, but and I'm saying he on purpose because apparently the way they're talking, that he is the only reason the Chiefs have an offense. I mean, they can't run an offense without him. They didn't score but 9 points in that Super Bowl. And you're ready to say he's better than Joe Montana. You're ready to say he's better than Tom Brady. You're ready to say he's better than John Elway. No, he's got a ways to go. He's won 2 Super Bowls. Ben Roethlisberger won 2 Super Bowls. Is anybody talking about he's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever? Eli
Nope.
Manning won 2 Super Bowls. Anybody talking about he was one of the greatest quarterbacks ever? Do you remember hearing that, Matthew?
Nope.
Don't put this guy on a freaking pedestal just yet. He's got a ways to go before even Montana when he won his second one. People were talking about he was a good quarterback, but it wasn't like he's one of the greatest. And Montana is the greatest Super Bowl quarterback, greatest Super Bowl performing quarterback in NFL history, in my opinion. He never threw a pick. He had 300-yard games, 3 of the 4 games. And I mean, come on, dude. Don't and that game winning drive, he had game winning drive against the Bengals. They demolished the Broncos. And I mean, yeah, I don't think he'll ever top Montana. But, that's just my opinion. My opinion is okay, let's go back to another call during the game that I didn't understand. Well, first of all, the 2 4-yard touchdowns. Everybody was talking about, what a great formation. What a great play call on that play. The play call had nothing to do with it. It was the stupid Eagles secondary. When a guy goes in motion, you follow him, but you don't assume. You know what happens when you assume things, Matthew?
For me, 9 times out of 10, I get it wrong.
You make an ass out of you
Out of
and me.
yourself.
That's why you spell assume the way you do. Um,
Yep.
the Eagles cover guy assumed he was going all the way through and just kept going, never watched him. When Tony planted, and then the next touchdown was the same play. They did the same thing. They went in motion, faked in motion, and came back. More came back, and the Eagles guy just kept right on going, and there was nobody out there guarding him. Touchdown. How easy was that? That was just like a pitch and catch for Mahomes to do that. So Eagles secondary, Eagles defense. I'm sorry, Eagles fan, but your defense let you down.
Yeah.
That was the biggest disappointment of the whole game was how the Eagles defense. And you can't say they were on the field too long. Time of possession. I mean, we just talked about that. Time of possession was pretty much. I mean, look, Philadelphia had the ball. Their offense had the ball for 35 minutes to 24 minutes for the uh, for the Chiefs. And Philadelphia pretty much outgained them in everything except rushing yards. Total yards 417 to 340 Eagles. Hurts gets sacked twice. And I think the sacks were a little overrated because Hurts. One of the only problem I had with Hurts, and the only mistakes he made was the fumble, of course,
Yeah.
and the fact that when he was in the pocket and pressure was getting to him, he waited too long to take off the run. He should have, once that pocket collapsed and he started, there was a few times he rolled out of the pocket and he waited when he could have took off and it backfired on him. He didn't get sacked, but not what you would call a regular quarterback sack, but he ran out of bounds or had to throw the ball away, but he could have taken off. That's one of his strengths is his legs. Take off and run. You're not going to hurt anything. I mean, you can't hurt anything if you just sit back there and let somebody sack you. So another key play in the game, something that I didn't understand. It's kind of, I guess it's kind of what team is on the opposite side is that the NFL decides if they do what they're supposed to do. So late in the game, Dallas Goddard, fourth down play. He goes across the middle, catches, and when he catches the ball, he makes a great catch. When he catches the ball, he kind of switches hands with it and goes out of bounds. Well, they rule it a catch, and the Eagles rush up to the line, just like they did in the 49ers game. All of a sudden, they're trying to snap the ball. They get the ball snapped, and these phantom flags come up. And I'm like, what in the world happened? So the referees come up and say, why they threw the flags, I don't know. For what they said, we didn't allow time for substitution for the Chiefs defense. Now, I don't think if the way I understand, and I may be wrong here, I don't have the rule book in front of me, and I don't have the replay official right beside me. But the way I understand the rules, and I may be wrong, if I am, somebody correct me, I apologize. The only time a team has to allow you time to substitute is when the offensive team substitutes. If they substitute, then I may be wrong, but I thought I understood that they if they substitute, they have to allow the defense time to substitute as well. And if they're running up to the line to snap the ball, they're not substituting,
Yeah.
but they stop the game. And of course, Andy Reid throws the red flag, which luckily it didn't it didn't get overturned. The Eagles' catch still was upheld. But 2 weeks earlier, when the Eagles did this, nobody stopped the game. Expedited replay that should have stopped the play when that boy made the catch that wasn't a catch to set up the first touchdown. Expedited replay never stopped that play. And I don't understand. I don't want to think that this is rigged. I don't want to think that the NFL was favoring the Chiefs, but you see some things in this playoffs, and it makes you wonder. The two third downs against the Bengals, and I'll go ahead. I had a little Facebook confrontation with somebody about the not the first fumble that went for a touchdown that was an actual fumble. The second one in the second half, when there was a catch, the ball was caught, and the Eagles player had not made a football move. When he got hit, ball pops loose, Chiefs take it in for a touchdown. But he didn't. In 20 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, that was a catch, and it would have been a touchdown with Chiefs. The way the rules are now, that was not a catch because he never made a football move. He got hit before he could take a step forward, and you know, people were arguing about that, but I was like, that was open and shut for me. That was not a touchdown. That was not a. The Robert is saying the way he understood it when Goddard caught the ball. The tight end caught the ball and ran down the bench, the sidelines. And Chiefs didn't know who was coming off the bench, tight end or another player. But I don't know. It didn't seem right with me. Um, but yeah, I mean there was some plays in that game that really made me wonder. It really made me wonder. And look, just so we know, the script had the Eagles 37, Chiefs 34. I guess they had it backwards, so because it was close, 38-35. But I mean, good game. And getting down to the end, let's talk about the key play that technically, yeah, it's a hold. Technically, he got held. Even that the defensive back for the Eagles said, "I held him. I was just hoping I didn't that I would have got away with it." And then you have people talking about he couldn't have caught the ball. The ball was uncatchable. Well, they didn't call pass interference. They called holding. It doesn't matter if the ball is not catchable when you get called for holding. So, and maybe let me get your opinion on this, Matthew. At that point of the game, and he did tug him a little bit. It wasn't like he mugged him or anything. I've seen worse not get called in regular season games. At that point of the game, considering the circumstances, as a referee, are you going to call that holding?
No, because it wasn't that big of a deal. The way somebody explained it to me, it looked like it was
Right.
a flick on the jersey. You're just trying to grab somebody and you just flick, you know, just pluck this jersey kinda. But the referees obviously needed the Chiefs to get a automatic first down.
Well, the thing that happened, that was like no reaction from Smith on the pass interference. Who is Smith?
Juju's it's talking about
Oh yeah, Juju.
Juju
Yeah,
Smith
I mean
or
he didn't
whatever.
really. You're right. He really didn't react. But you know, you would think he would throw his hands up in there, got up, throwing his hands up in the air, and that would have got the flag. But that gave them a first down and gave them a chance to run more time off the clock. And pretty much, McKinnon breaks around, and the Eagles are going to let him score. And he slides down at the 1 yard line, and they pretty much kneel till they run the clock down to 10 seconds or so, kick the field goal, win the game. So let's say he didn't. Yeah, good point, Robert. Good point. I like what Robert just said, Matthew. McKinnon should have got the MVP for not scoring because that was smart.
Yeah,
Hold on. Dion Johnson, former ECU Pirates, in here. And yeah, I see. I love getting more people in here to get some stuff going. He said, but if I'm a ref and I'm rooting for the Chiefs, I'm gonna make that call. Yeah, of course
yeah.
you are. If you're a
Automatic
ref
first
rooting for the
down.
Chiefs,
Yeah.
and then if you make that call and they find out you're a Chiefs fan, you might get called in the office. You might be called at NFL headquarters on Monday. But yeah, I mean, Dion, as a receiver, I mean, well, as a receiver, you're gonna want that hold called on that play anyway. Uh, that point of the game, though, I'm just not. I don't want. I mean, I know technically it was a hold. It was a hold, but at that point of the game, and it with the magnitude of this game, no bigger than it was.
Yeah.
I don't want a game to come down to a referee making a call like that. Now, if he'd have mugged him, I mean, and he would have caught the ball, went in the end zone. Yeah, go ahead, call it. I'm all for that. Don't think I'm saying don't call anything. It's all prison rules out there on the field in the last 2 minutes in a tight game. No more than he did. I just don't like it coming down to that at the end. I would love to see what the Eagles could have done if they had some time left. It could have gone down the field and see just to see if they could have made that made that happen. But that's the way it works. And I'm not look, believe me, I didn't have a horse in this race. My boys were sitting at home, been sitting at home for a while. Either way, it was fine with me. Like I said, I didn't think Mahomes deserved MVP. Um, but if the Eagles had won, no doubt Jalen Hurts gets MVP. Jalen Hurts played a heck of a game. He proved himself on the biggest stage that night. I mean, did you see? I don't know if you heard about this, Matthew. There was one time, I don't know what it how I think the Eagles scored or something or getting ready to score. It was a big play for the Eagles on offense, and Hurts came to the sideline. And I think the coach for the Eagles was kind of saying something across the way to the Chiefs or somebody on the field for the Chiefs, and Hurts told him to stop. Said, calm down, stop, don't do that. It's not the way we want to do this, which that
Yeah.
impressed me right there. Um, what did you think, Matthew, of this game? I mean, it was a great game. Not the best game Super Bowl I've seen. Not the best, but it was still up there.
It was a great game. Like you said, it was a great game, and it was back and forth for a while. Well, Chiefs came back at the right
Second
time.
half, it was back and forth.
Huh?
I think the second half, it was really back and
Yeah,
forth.
after the second half, it was back and forth. First half, Philly had it all day, but after Jalen Hurts fumbled that ball, I just got a different vibe out of it. I said, "Damn,
Yeah.
something's going to change coming here soon," and Chiefs going to come back and win this game, or at least make a
Yeah.
ball game out of it. And when that last holding call, what we were just talking about, when they threw that flag, I said, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be automatic first down. Automatic first down pretty much seals the deal.
Yeah. That was it there. I mean, they knew they
Yeah,
could run the no timeouts for the Eagles. They knew they could run the clock down like they wanted to. I mean,
yeah,
so that looking at the ratings here, the this Super Bowl 57 was the third most watched US TV show ever and the second most watched Super Bowl. Of course, the most watched Super Bowl was 2015 Seahawks and Patriots when they should have given Marshawn the damn ball. Um,
yeah,
I I hearing some things today. We talked a little bit about they were going to change. They were going to look into you couldn't tackle from the side anymore,
yeah.
and how ridiculous that is. Well, if you don't think the Eagles are feeling kind of like they're somebody's against them, the league is looking into on the quarterback sneak the guy, the running back or whoever's behind the quarterback, giving him a push. They're looking into outlawing that now after that game the other night because that happened several times, and
What?
that's how that's how the Eagles get those first downs on those sneaks. They got a running back coming behind. If he doesn't get it, or if he gets stopped, they've got a running back coming behind that comes up behind the quarterback and pushes him. It runs into him and gives him a push. Now, the first year I was head coach at Northeast, we did that on a quarterback sneak, and we got called for it. Not the first time. We had done it several times, but I guess it just depends on what referee crew you get. That applies to a lot of things,
Yeah,
especially in high school football. If you get I could get a referee crew that says you can't chop block people at the line of scrimmage, and then the next week it gets done to us, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can do that." And I'm like, "The referee crew last week said we couldn't do that, so it's different rules and different referees." So we'll see. I mean, that's going to be a big thing talked about this offseason is, believe it or not, two rule changes coming. You can't push the quarterback on a quarterback sneak, and you can't tackle from the side. If that makes any sense to you.
which that came from the Pollard injury at
Yeah,
the
that came
Cowboys
from
game.
Pollard.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, did you see? it looks like Ezekiel might be on the way out.
I seen that,
So Giants gonna
and
pick him up.
I don't know. I doubt it.
No, I don't think the Giants
I
pick him up.
doubt it.
Saquon's
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
There, and he had made the comment he wanted to stay with the Cowboys even if he had to take a pay cut.
Pay
So
cut. Yeah,
I guess
but I
they
don't.
don't
I
want
don't.
you to stay.
But now that what's his name? I can never remember his name. But the offensive coordinator is fired.
Oh yeah, Kellen Moore.
But Callamore, yeah. Ever since he's been in there, Ezekiel Elliott ain't been the
His carries
ain't
have
been
gone
ain't
down.
yeah, and he ain't been hot ever since. And
Yeah, well, that's because that guy pushed Dak so much.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. But
Dion. Yeah, go ahead, Matthew. I'm sorry.
I just wonder if the new offensive coordinator, will lean away from Dak a little bit and focus
I don't
more on
think
the
so.
running back. I don't think so either because
I
it's
don't think
Dak
so.
Prescott.
Yeah. Dion Johnson said, I don't think you should be able to help any runner advance the ball. I don't think so either, Dion. I mean, I always thought that it was a penalty for doing that, but I don't know. I mean, I guess over the years it's got swept under the rug and people have got away with it so much that now they're gonna do away with it.
You
I don't
mean the
remember seeing
quarterback
it. I
sneak?
don't remember seeing it as much, until the last few years. Robert is asking, of course, Derek Carr released by the Las Vegas Raiders, free agent now. Do you think Derek Carr will come to Carolina? I think it's a good possibility.
I do too.
Frank Reich's a quarterback whisperer. Um, but we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of teams looking at Derek Carr right now. Saints are one. Uh, you know, I forgot what other teams. You can push but can't pull. Yeah, I mean, even back then in the day when I played, Robert, you weren't allowed to push or somebody to advance it. I mean, there's all these I've seen over the years now. Now over the years, when you see like a, a receiver catch the ball across the middle and he's in a pile, and all of a sudden you see the offensive lineman come and just knock the pile into it. That's one thing. But actually getting up there and pushing the guy like that, yeah. I mean, I know it was illegal in high school because we got called for it, and they told us we had to stop doing it.
I don't see no issue with it.
You know, I don't know. I'm on the fence on it. I don't. Dion makes a good point. I don't think you should be able to help any runner advance the ball. I mean, yeah, I can see both sides of it, but if I had to go with it, we got away with it. As long as we got away with it, we were doing it. But when they started calling it, it was done then. But also, Rex Ryan could be headed back to coaching. I don't know if you saw this early in the week. Uh, Sean Payton has been in contact with Rex Ryan about being his defensive coordinator, which might not be a bad idea. Rex Ryan was a much better coordinator than he was a head coach. He was defensive coordinator for some of them great Ravens defenses. Then he went to the Jets as head coach and Buffalo as head coach. Then he had some success with the Jets, not much with Buffalo's a little mediocre success with Buffalo, but much better, much better coordinator. It should be interesting to see him coming back. I think what was he with ESPN? Doing the pregame shows, him coming back to the NFL, Denver might be taking a step in the right direction with the defense. I know he just wished they hadn't got rid of Chubb, but
Yeah.
he would love to have Chubb in there right now. Um, Derek Carr, I'm glad you brought that up, Robert. I don't know. I mean, there's several teams looking at Derek Carr.
The
So
Saints, Carolina, and the Bucks. I know the Bucks are.
yeah. So you gonna watch Daytona 500?
Most likely.
I have not watched it in a while. I've watched the end of it because I
Yeah.
just can't get into NASCAR the way I used to. Jaguars Denver better get a quarterback, Dion says. Oh, I thought they can't look, they can't afford a quarterback right now. They got one in there. They can't that's making it where they can't afford to get another quarterback. By all means, I think if Russell doesn't improve with Sean Payton there, I don't think I don't think it's going to be good for Russell. I think he's going to be on the way out after this year if he doesn't get better. Also, the Ravens, when they had the offensive coordinator candidates coming in to interview, they never assured those candidates that Lamar Jackson would be there. I mean, I'm just finding it hard to believe that he hasn't signed a contract yet.
He wants too much money.
He does want a lot of money, and I'm telling you this: uh, he's missed. He's not. I mean, your durability is starting to get questioned now.
Yeah.
Your legs, you got leg injuries. I guess you still got a leg injury. I don't know if that was sending a signal to the to the Ravens or what, but John Harbaugh during the end of the year, end of the season press conference said he was 200% confident Lamar Jackson is the team's quarterback of the future. But guess what? I can't tell right now, bud. I think he might be looking another quarterback, kind of like what Dion thinks Denver better do.
Maybe Lamar goes to Denver.
Lamar to Denver for Russell.
Imagine that.
Wow. That would be a big story. If I don't think it'll
It
happen, but
would.
that would be a
Me
big
either.
story. Okay. All right, Dion. I get your point there. Look at his stats since he's been with the team. All right. Think about what he's done the last 2 years, though. He has been out nine. He's missed 9 games the last 2 years. The final 4 games of 2021 and the last 5 of 2022. So you're going to pay a man all that money and he can't finish the season? And that's your guy. That's your guy at quarterback. That's who you're looking to take you to a Super Bowl. The last 2 years, he has not finished the season. I don't mind you paying him, but I don't think he deserves right now. If he'd have got a contract, the biggest thing with this is he should have had an agent looking out for him. That's the way I feel. And the fact that he's missed those last games, whether he did it on he's really hurt. The last, I think the last game, I think he probably could have played, but do you want to throw him back in there after he's missed so much time? 9 games. That's 9 games in 2 years, and you're talking about you want 230. You turned down $230 million. How much money does he want, Dion? How much money he turned down? $230 million contract. How much of that was guaranteed? I don't know.
He would have been the highest paid quarterback in
How
the
much
league.
more money do they have to offer this guy for him to? I mean, because every time it makes me think, because every time they up it, he still turns it down. It makes me think he does not want to be in Baltimore. I don't care what he says. When you keep turning down that kind of money, yeah, I don't think he wants to be there. I think he's looking for somewhere else. Honestly, if I was him, if I'm a Baltimore fan, I want to see Harbaugh go. Harbaugh's question, his calls going on fourth down, the
Yeah.
Buffalo game this year when he went instead of kicking the field goal, put points on the board, going up by 3. Yeah, I agree with you. They're making too much daggum money right now. There's a lot of
Yeah.
scrub quarterbacks out there getting paid a lot of money for losing. There he is. Russell Wilson got paid a lot for losing. But, I mean, he was winning going into that contract. He wasn't banged up. I just don't. I mean, and I have nothing. And I'm a Steelers fan. I can't stand the Ravens, but I have nothing against Lamar Jackson. Coming into this league, the first 3 or 4 years before the injuries started getting on him, he was dynamic. He wasn't as far as throwing the ball. I wouldn't have a lot of confidence in him, and I made that comment, and he didn't let me down. He turned the ball over a lot during the big games. Playoffs, he won one playoff game. He's won one playoff game since he's been there. And the fact that Baltimore, he missed 5 games and Baltimore still made the playoffs. I mean, with Huntley's okay. And believe me, as a Steeler fan, I hope he would stay. We haven't had trouble beating Lamar. We haven't had trouble stopping Lamar. We beat him just as much as he's beat us, probably more since he's been a Raven. So I don't have a problem with Lamar staying in Baltimore, but I just don't. I don't think with him when he keeps turning out all that money that he's. Tell us how you really feel, Dion. Dion says Huntley sucks, dude. It's great how I enjoy having somebody like Dion in here. Dion is not going to sugarcoat anything. Dion's going to tell it like it is, and me and Dion have gone way back. Dion, I need to get with you sometime soon too. I might need you to do something for me, and just something for the show. Um, but yeah, we'll see how it plays out. There's going to be a lot of things going on this off season. Um, a lot of interesting things to watch with contract stuff. Uh, Here's the thing. Let me get your thoughts on this, Dion, Matthew, everybody. Hurts is gonna want some money, and they're gonna look out for Hurts. But let me ask you this: Hurts needs weapons too.
Correct.
Eric, and we're gonna get to you in a second, Eric. Um, if you're Jalen Hurts, and I know this is your job, this is your future. You want to get back to that Super Bowl. You want to take less money over a period of time, over a longer period of time, and have your weapons there, some money for your weapons there, or are you just gonna go for the big payday and then be like Dak situation now in Dallas, where you don't have cap room right now to go out for and look for weapons. You don't have that money to go get somebody else. What do you do? What do you do?
I'd take less money for a longer period of time because I love the I love the sport. Even if I was out there playing, I know a lot of these players out here now just want to be a star, want to be the top headline, top paid guy. They want to be that. But if you want to win Super Bowls, you need somebody to help you do that.
And
You
I
need
and I mean
weapons.
it's
You need weapons, and you need that cap space to help you get those weapons. So you can't ask for $230 million and expect your franchise to just give you that money and that money to nobody else for
let's
wide receivers, running backs, tight end.
I want to get Dion's take on this because Dion's a former player that was at the college level, very successful at the college level. Uh, Now, Dion, let's say you're a all pro quarterback getting ready to be up for a contract. What are you going to do? Because this is your profession, this is your job. You want that money, but you also want a ring. You want some rings too. What do you do? I want to get Dion's take on this. Eric says Eric says take less money if you're him, but as a Dallas fan, I want him gone. He's not going anywhere, Eric. Dion said he need to take all that money because he's not going back to that Super Bowl for a while. That's what we're talking about with. Uh, there's a lot of moves, a lot of questions with the Eagles right now about what's going to happen next year with who's going to be back. Kelsey at center talking about retiring. Um, I know Hargrave, the big defensive lineman, is he's a free agent. There's several free agents out there, so yeah, he might not be back in that Super Bowl for a while. But I still
Is
don't think.
AJ Brown a free agent?
I don't think so. I think they just signed AJ when they got him in the trade.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, yep. They do lose a lot on that defense, and both of their coordinators are already gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
While we're talking about Eric, Eric is the winner of the Final Score T-shirt. Uh, he picked the score closest in the Super Bowl, so we'll be getting that to him. Uh, I'll be
He
getting it
writes the
to him.
script.
Yeah, somebody actually picked by the script, and I was waiting for somebody to do it, and Patrick Bryant picked the script score, and I said, "Dang, there we go." I'm sure that's what it was, and he said I couldn't resist it, so it was close. It was close. So here's something me and Matthew are going to work on, and maybe not next week, but I've got some people lined up. I'm making a call out to all of you out there listening right now. If you're a fan of a particular team, NFL team, we're going to be doing in the off season top 10 list. What I'm going to try, I want to get every NFL team. And if you have your favorite team, if you feel like you want to come on, if you feel like you want to come on and give us for your team the top 10 list, you want to be a guest on the show, let me know. I've got a couple of teams already lined up with guys that are going to do it. Um, but let me know. That's what we're going to do with this offseason. We're going to do a lot of top 10 lists this offseason. We're going to talk about some old Super Bowls, maybe some old classic games. But yeah, get it in. And Dion saying NFL stands for not for long. So get your money when you can get it. And that's, I wanted to get Dion's take as a player that went to that level and wanted to get to another level. We'll talk to you about the Cowboys, Eric, because I've got it may be you and another guy doing the Cowboys. Um, yeah, I mean I can understand that coming from a player's perspective. That's what I wanted to get as well. So before we get out of here, uh, isn't the NBA All Star Weekend this weekend, or is it next weekend?
I think it's next weekend.
You gonna watch it?
No.
Me neither. Me neither. That was my question there. And look, LeBron sets the scoring record. Dion's talking trash about the Cowboys, Cowgirls.
See, I like him already.
Yeah, Dion's a good guy. Dion is one of the best. ECU Pirate. If you want to see Dion in action, a lot of if you're an NC State fan, you probably don't want to. Dion was one of the stars on that great 1991 ECU Pirate Peach Bowl team that beats NC State 37-34. New Year's Day. Ain't that right, Dion? Dion had a big punt return. I mean, Matthew, I don't know if you know much about that game because that game was really way before your time.
Yeah.
Um, but ECU was down 34-17 in the fourth quarter and came back and got the win 37-34.
I love to
And
see that.
explosive offense. Jeff Blake was quarterback, but they had Dion was one of the receivers. And look, Dion did send a check in the mail because I'm praising you right now. I expect the check to be in the mail. But Dion was one of the receivers there. That was a year ECU went 11-1 and was a bad call away from being undefeated that year. A bad call. First game of the season they lost on a terrible, terrible call. And other than that, they would have been undefeated that year. But yeah, probably one of the best, if not the best, ECU Pirate football team that I've seen in my lifetime. Um, but yeah, it's get with us about coming on the show if you want to. Want to talk about your team, Dion? If we get Dion on here, Lord, we're gonna have a ball if we get Dion on here to do his team. Best coach ever,
Who does he
Bill
like?
Lewis. Hold on, Robert saying ECU's best coach ever was Bill Lewis. What? That's what I'm saying. Eric, you just contradicted yourself. He said, Eric saying, you lucky I can agree with ECU football to a certain extent, but don't talk junk about my Cowboys, even though we ain't done it nothing since '95. You just,
What does
you
that
just
even
made,
mean?
you just made our argument for you. '95. Yeah, Dion's a Panthers fan.
Okay.
Yeah, Dion's a Panthers fan. Because Dion, when I had him on his interview, uh, Dion was very entertaining. We talked a lot. I did the interview, and this was one of my first interviews. But Dion turned the tables on me when I finished my question. Dion started asking me questions about the NFL after that. We had a blast. But yeah, Steve Logan. Steve Logan wasn't the head coach when they did the. He was the offensive coordinator. Wasn't he the offensive coordinator, Dion? But Bill Lewis was the head coach that year because he left after that game and went to Georgia Tech. But yep, offensive coordinator. We need to get Dion back on here to talk about some more ECU stuff. I would love to have Dion talk about some more ECU stuff, or get multiple ECU players up here from that team and let them talk. Just
That'd
let
be
them
cool.
talk.
Yeah.
That would be cool. As a Panthers fan, Eric's firing shots now. Eric's firing shots. Eric is asking Dion, as a Panthers fan, do you believe Cam Newton threw the Super Bowl 50?
Ooh.
I can't wait to hear this response right here from Dion. That all goes back to the fumble that Cam fumbled the ball and didn't make that much of an effort to go after the ball. I mean, it was in a pile, but he didn't dive on it. You're in the Super Bowl, man. You got to go all out and try
Yeah.
to get the ball. But they were showing, they were actually showing that the other night when I was watching. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, that Robert, you're right. That coaching staff for ECU that year was like a who's who. Was Spagnola up there? I wanted to say Spagnola was Dion's response to Eric was, "Damn, bro, I can't believe you went there. Uh oh, we let's get ready to rumble." I'm gonna look up this 1991 ECU football because they had several NFL coaches on that that went on to be NFL coaches. Hmm. Does it tell you up here? Dion just said, "Hell yeah, he threw that Super Bowl."
I agree. He was scared. Cam was scared.
He got scared. He did get
Yeah, he
scared.
did.
That's
He
for
did.
sure. I mean, jeez.
And still talk shit.
Yeah, Mark Rick was up there. You're right, Robert. Uh, Hold on. I'm trying to pull up and see if they got the breakdown of all the coaches up here. I can't find it. No, I can't find it up here. Anyway, Dion Johnson. Here's his stats from his senior year: 40 catches, 743 yards, a 18.6 average. That dude could, and he could flat out fly too. Like I said, Dion, put the check in the mail. Um, I the uh, can't find the freaking list of maybe this will have. Dion saying that there was a mob guy in the stands with a picture of Cam's family on there. Okay, okay. Anyway, I don't see, but I'm gonna tell you, there was, I mean, that coaching staff was a who's who of coaches at the time. Eric saying he was pissed, even as a Cowboys fan, because y'all had so much potential and just threw it away because
Yeah.
Cam definitely wasn't Superman in the Super Bowl. Well, I'll agree. But that, when you had Von Miller chasing you all night, that might put a little fear in you as well. And Von Miller was on his butt all night. I had a guy tell me after that game, he was a Broncos fan, that said that uh, that defense for the Broncos that year was the best defense the NFL has ever seen. And I'm like, oh my God, you were crazy.
I mean, they had a
Why?
good defense, but I don't know
They
about
had a
that.
good defense, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm not even going. I'll mention the Steel Curtain from the '70s, but I'm not even saying that was the greatest defense for a single season. Greatest defense in football? No, Eric, no. And I'm not saying it because I don't like the Ravens. You need to go back and watch the 86 Bears or the 85 Bears, whatever, the Super Bowl shuffle year. That team right there was so dominant. That defense was so dominant. The Ravens don't even no. No. The Bears had the most dominant that 46 defense. Yeah, the 85 Bears, that 46 defense Buddy Ryan put in, nobody could figure it out. You had Wilbur Marshall, you had um look, Singletary, you had Dan Hampton, Mongo McMichael, you had, I mean, so many. I think Ron Rivera even played on that team. What's the question, Dion? Dion saying question, but he's saying he's still putting Cam in the Hall of Fame.
No. Oh no.
I don't know if that's a question or if he's getting ready to ask a question. Let's see what he comes up with. Anyway, that Bears defense and that Super Bowl that year when they played the Patriots. Granted, the Patriots. Oh, all right. Here's a question for you, Matthew, and everybody. Y'all think Mike Vick should be in the Hall of Fame? Huh?
No, I don't think so.
I'm gonna look at
Look at his stats. Pull up his
Let's look at his
stats.
stat. Let's look at
Yeah.
his stat. And you know, with Mike Vick's situation, that's good. Even with his stats, and I know what you will say. You're not, but look at Pete Rose. Pete Rose got in legal trouble betting on stuff, and he was in, and it's kept him out of the Hall of Fame all these years. As a player, if that hadn't happened, look, 22,464 yards passing, 133 touchdowns, 88 interceptions. It doesn't even have. I want to see his rushing yards. They don't have his rushing yards. Yeah, he changed the game, but I think what will
He
keep him
did.
out, I swear, and I don't think I don't think they'll put him in just because of all the legal problems he was in. He definitely, and let me tell you this: if he hadn't got in all that problem, these stats right here, he'd probably have at least 10,000 more yards. Because
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you think about what I mean when he came back, he had some good years with Philly, and then but he was not. I'll tell you this. I will say this: that game that night against the Redskins, Monday Night Football, he threw the ball. I bet 70 yards in the air down the field to Deshaun Jackson, and I'm talking about in the air. I'm not talking about Deshaun Jackson caught it and then ran 30 yards. He threw it 70 yards in the air, and it was unbelievable. The guy had incredible talent, but
He
that
did.
his legal problems kept him from, I guess, achieving his ultimate goal, which was a Super Bowl. It's a shame because you never know. That's just, I mean, I like Vic. I really did like Vic. I mean, I was like in awe of watching him out there running on the field and what he could do. Because when he took off, I think it was a Minnesota game that you see the highlights so much from. When he decided to take off, that Joker flew. Dion, here's my question for you. Could you have caught Mike Vick? Chase him down. Now Dion was quick. Dion was fast. That's what I want to hear. What Dion says. Could he have caught Mike Vick? And I hope Dion's still in here. Dion is. I'm telling you, we need to have Dion on here one night and let
We
him.
should.
He's. You would enjoy it. You would really enjoy that. I think everybody out there would enjoy it. um. Dion's comment, man, that would have been easy work catching him. Let me see if I can bring up. I don't know if I can bring up Dion's uh, with ECU, like you, so you can hear the uh, highlight. Making sure it on screen. I don't know if I'll get flagged for it or not. Of course, every time I bring up a oh yeah, you ain't gonna like that, Dion. Every time I bring up a Johnson for ECU, it puts Chris Johnson up there. Dion could have caught him too. It's just got my interview with him up here. Easy work too, Dion. I want to talk a little bit about that because I don't think we've done a show since this happened, and this will probably be the last thing we talk about tonight. And I know, Matthew, you're probably not familiar with it, but um, in my lifetime, since I've been an ECU Pirate fan since 82, 83, the one of the voice I knew for ECU Pirate sports was Jeff Charles. I mean, he was called the voice of the Pirates, and he made the phrase "paint this one purple" famous. He said it after every ECU win, football, basketball, baseball, whatever. Um, he passed away last last was Friday before last, but Robert Dion. That's what I was going to say. I know he was there when you were there. I mean, did you have? I mean, did you have many dealings with him? I mean, everybody, of course, now even before now though, before he passed away, because I'm a big believer in, you don't need to you don't need to wait till somebody passes away to give them their due, to give them their compliments, to tell them what you think of them. But even before that, Jeff Charles was like one of the most well-respected people in ECU, in the ECU family. Dion said that was my dude. Yeah, I mean, so many great calls. I mean, I think one of my favorite ones, and Dion will love this one. When they won the Peach Bowl that year, he said, "You can paint these peaches purple." Um, and I mean, had so many great calls. That especially that year, the pit game that Dion played in that year at Ficklin, when Jeff Blake got the 2-point conversion to take the lead and pretty much win the game. So many great calls, and he's going to be missed. Dion saying the little guy takes it all the way when Jeff Charles talking about Dion, and the little guy takes it all the way. But hey, nothing against the little guy. Little guys, I'm one of those dudes. I'm not as fast as you are, but you might be easy work for me, Dion. But
Oh.
yeah, yeah, it was always great to hear Jeff Charles say that. And paint this one. You can paint this one purple, but it's going to be sorely missed. Um, and I know it's not. I don't know if it's the right time. There's already talk about who's going to be in the booth as far as taking this place. But you know what? I would not want to be the guy that tries to follow Jeff Charles, because that is some Huge, huge shoes to fill at ECU right now. And rest in peace, Jeff Charles. We certainly send our prayers and condolences out to his family and to the ECU Pirate family, who was, I just, I hate to see it because the man battled. The man had cancer. He battled his way back from cancer, and I think it ended up they said he had a heart attack while he was on the road, getting ready, getting ready to, getting ready to call a basketball game the next day. Yeah, I mean they need to do something. I agree. Dion said they should leave that seat empty when they do the where they're at. I think they did that. Actually, they did that at the basketball game the other day. They put something on the seat where he usually sat and put the voice on it. So it was a good tribute at ECU last night. I think they came back from like 20 points down against Cincinnati and win by 5. They came back in the second half and they said that was for Jeff Charles. So it's going to be different. I mean, like I said, that's the only voice I've ever known as far as ECU athletics. And you used to, back in the day, I remember turning the radio on Saturday afternoon to listen to the ECU games, and Jeff Charles was what you heard. And there was nothing wrong with it. I'd rather listen to Jeff Charles and some of the guys on ESPN that don't know the name is East Carolina. They call it Eastern Carolina, or don't know, some of the players' name. I'd rather listen to Jeff Charles, somebody that knows about the players. And Jeff Charles definitely did that. And he had a great relationship with all the players that he dealt with. It's just like what you talk about Dion saying that was his dude. And definitely going to be missed at ECU. That voice will be missed. Matthew, any last words?
Nope. Just looking for the off season and looking for these top 10 lists. Hoping everybody joins in with us for that.
Yeah, we'll have some scheduled. I've actually got your boys. I got 2 guys coming on that are huge Giant fans that are going to be here with us. So you'll have some. You'll have a lot of company. Y'all can have at it. And they're
We
older.
will.
It's going to be interesting because you being like half my age, and what your top 10 is going to be compared to mine. Because I remember the Giants with the Parcells back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Um, Dion, thank you, bud. And look, hey, we'll get you on for the Panthers if you want it. Dion said, "Appreciate you, Matthew." He said he'll be checking out our great show.
Sounds
But
good. Appreciate you
anytime
joining
you
in,
want to
man.
come on, Dion, you let us know. We'll get you on here
Hey, and
anytime.
I like to talk shit too, so come join me.
You got an open invitation.
That's right.
All right, so we'll be getting ready for the USFL. We'll be getting ready. Matthew, you need to pick a USFL team. I'm gonna look at the rosters this week, and I'll
It
be
ain't gonna
telling
be
you who.
it ain't gonna be the Pittsburgh mothballs, whatever it was.
I look. I may not be pulling for the Pittsburgh Maulers. Like I said, I'm gonna go
Ballers,
for
yeah.
the. I'm gonna check the coaches, and I'm gonna check the roster out to see who's on there before I pick my team. But yeah, we'll have a USFL chat. We'll be pick your team, and we'll be talking about that next week, guys.
All right.
Y'all have a great week, and we'll see you next time on the final score.
See you.